Hello and welcome. If you are watching this, that means you're watching, in my personal opinion, what is the greatest show on the entire internet. That's because you were here with Matt, you were here with Robbie, you were here with me. We get to virtually be here with you as you watch this. And so we're excited to jump in here. Matt and Robbie, thank you so much for being here to do something kind of unique. We are going to open up Matt's Kit account. We're going to open up Matt's Kit account. We're going to break down exactly how Matt's business works and all the things that you've built there. So thank you so much for being here and jumping in and spending the time with us.
Yeah, man, thanks for having me, and thanks for having us. Thanks for making me feel very underdressed today. That's super awesome. Appreciate that.
Had to show up out here. Well,
Yeah,
Matt,
I'm in my typical office attire, and Shiv's like going out clubbing. So that's good.
I'm always prepared. After the Cubs broke my heart, I got this hat on until we win again, hopefully.
Wow, you're gonna wear it for another 60 years. That's crazy.
It's gonna be a tough life out here. Well, Matt, for the people that may not know you as they watch this, why don't you give a quick introduction to yourself?
Yeah, so about 20 some odd years ago, I'm assuming you want me to go back that far, not 46 years ago when I was just a little swimmer. About 20 years ago, I had a business that we were really, really struggling to get it off the ground, to kind of get it just frankly, to be profitable, to cover payroll. And I discovered these things called affiliates. And they say these things because I didn't know what they were. Nobody in our company knew what they were. And so as the man who, either you can say, drew the short straw, or as the man who by default knew the most about affiliates because I knew what the word meant, that was the extent of my knowledge, I became an affiliate manager. And over the next about 18 months, we grew that to $1 million a month affiliate program. And I've kind of never looked back. It was one of those things that I realized, 2006, 2007, that if my guidance counselor in high school had known what an affiliate manager was, he didn't. They would have suggested this is what you should do, because I love people. I love working with people. I love marketing. I love the tech side. I love, all the kind of different aspects of affiliate management, and loved it. And so I realized it was one of the best ways to grow your company, to grow an email list, which is, that's what we're talking about today. It's one of the best ways to really just grow a business and get exposure to new people. And so over the last 15 years, I've transitioned to teaching it more. Still run a bunch of stuff. We're running some big launches this upcoming year, but it's become more of a passion to help others learn what I had to learn the hard way and kind of learn it the easy way. So that's today, that's what I do.
Yeah, right on. And I know that you also have Robbie here on the call, who is going to help break down what we're going to be doing inside your Kit account here.
Robbie's going to tell me what's inside my Kit account today. So for those, in fact, I'll just introduce Robbie. Robbie's been a friend for over do you realize it's been over a decade now, dude? Isn't that crazy? I think it's been almost to the month, like a decade since Robbie and I got to know each other. He started as a follower. Somebody who was following me to learn about affiliate marketing. And then he was successful with affiliate marketing. And then, I don't know, 8 years ago or so, it was like, we kind of tiptoed into the working together relationship. Like, hey, Robbie, can you do like a few of the tech things? And then it was like, hey, Robbie, can you run my business? And so one of the big things that he does is he does all of our Kit stuff. I know we were joking beforehand, like I know how to log into my Kit account. I can like check a few stats, but that's about the extent of what I know to do. And I know one of the things is just like, as Kit has grown over the past decade or so, it's become complex in a good way. Like, you guys just have so many things that one can do with their account that weren't there 8 years ago. And so it's become necessary for us, if we want to maximize, like, I could run it on my own and I could do a lot of the basics, but if I want to like max out everything that we can use this amazing tool for, I felt like personally I needed a Robbie. Not everybody needs a Robbie, but I needed a Robbie. And so, yeah, Robbie does it all. So, we were joking earlier, like, I'm going to learn stuff when we go inside my account. Like, I'm going to actually be like, oh, we're doing that. That's really cool. I didn't know Kit did that. I didn't know we did that. That's awesome. I've already learned something just in the pre-call. So That's kind of cool.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Excited for the journey here. For anybody who's watching this that doesn't know me, I lead our education here at Kit. If you don't know Kit, we are a creator marketing platform that'll help you send emails, grow your email list, monetize your audience. There's so many different aspects that we're going to be chatting about all today. And I've been doing this thing for a hot minute. I've been in the email space. This says marketing, technology, but it's really email marketing technology. I've been, I've either worked for or used every email tool probably under the sun in the last 10 years. And so if you do end up liking what you see and you join Kit, then feel free to shoot me an email and I can help just figure out how to translate maybe what you're doing in one email tool to another. Okay. Well, today what we're going to be speaking on is we're going to talk about a couple different aspects. Number one, how we go about growing our leads, right? How do we grow an email list and how Matt does that? Number two, Matt's strategy for partnering with other creators, also in the hopes of growing the email list and what the strategy is there. Number three, we're going to be talking about building trust via the actual emails that are sent, specifically in the form of a welcome sequence. What is that first impression via email that somebody gets from you? We'll then talk about everyone's favorite topic and monetizing your audience. How do we make some money out of this? And then last but not least, we have some great next steps and an exclusive bonus for you all. So excited to jump in here. Now, I'm somebody who, admittingly, I back in, college and in high school, maybe all through my life, I was that student who, I was a pretty bad student, to be honest, because I was always doing my homework in class, like right there, right then, rather than actually doing it at home.
You're supposed to do it.
That's what you're supposed to. I agree. I agree.
What better time to do your psychology paper than the period before psychology?
That's what I'm saying. Nobody wants it after the fact. Nobody wants to do that at home. So my best suggestion to you is if you, do use Kit, pull up your Kit account while you're watching this. And then as you're seeing the strategies that we talk about, you can kind of mirror some of those strategies in your own account. If you don't have a Kit account, we'll have a link for you here on the page that you're watching this on. And you can go ahead and create that Kit account and then follow along as well. So let's go ahead and jump right in here into our first topic, which is gaining new subscribers. And when we're talking about the idea of gaining new subscribers, since the dawn of time in the world of email, it's all about how do we deliver value? How do we give something of value to a group of people, to an audience, and in exchange for solving one of those low-hanging fruit of problems that they have, in exchange for that, maybe we ask for your email address, your name, something to follow up with. Now, with this lead magnet specifically that I'm looking at, Matt, Robbie, what am I looking at here? What is this lead magnet doing?
I mean, this lead magnet solves the biggest problem people have when it comes to starting or growing an affiliate program, which is, where do I find affiliates? Yeah. And I think a good rule of thumb is so I created this, I think in 2011. I started my first affiliate program in 2005. And so the timing actually works out great because I often say, typically you're about 6 years ahead of where your audience is, if you think about it. And I never thought about the fact that the timing was almost spot on to the month, because I started my platform in December of 2011 and it was in May of 2005. So 6.5 years before. But I think I created this, circa 2011 or so. And for me, it was I went back and said, okay, what were the questions I was asking? And I remember the meeting that we had Memorial Day weekend 2005. We were like, yes, we're going to get affiliates. We're going to grow this thing and we're going to grow it to $25,000 a month. This is going to be huge. We didn't know we'd ever grow it to over $1 million a month. 25,000 would have been like a pipe dream. We're going to grow this thing and we're going to have tens of affiliates. It's going to be amazing. And then we all just kind of looked at each other and went well, how do we find affiliates? I don't know. I have no idea. So what I did was I spent the next 18 months basically trying to kind of figure it out. I tried some things. Most of them didn't work. Some of them did. A lot of them worked. A few of them worked really, really well. And so then we compiled this list. And so that's the easiest way to come up with a lead magnet, is just think what were you would almost think now, oh my gosh, what a dumb question to ask. But to a beginner, it's the question. And this right here answers the question. If you don't know where to find affiliates and how to reach out to them, all the other stuff I teach about incentivizing them and activating your inactives and how to get 10% more from your affiliates this year. Well, you can't get 10% more of zero. Even our son knows what 10% more of zero is. It's still zero. So yeah, it answers the question. That's what I tell people to look for in a lead magnet.
In the offset of like creating this, is there, like, obviously this is a challenge that you had, that you knew personally from experience, that this is something people have at the top of their journey becoming an affiliate. Did you like poll or ask anybody in your audience, is this a problem that you have? Was there any level of like, hey, do I go out and validate this problem from the community?
Yeah. You know, I should say yes. And I have with other things. This one was so blatantly obvious.
Yeah.
That I guess, you know what? I had been validating it for 6 years. If you think, because I talked to a lot of other, people who'd started affiliate programs. They were all asking the same thing. The people, I mean, in 2009, I was talking with another affiliate manager who was in the wedding, they did wedding stuff. I won't say the name of the company, but they, stationery, save the date, magnets, things like that. And the first question he asked me, I was like advising him. I was now kind of 4 years later, I'd won my first affiliate manager of the year award. And I was kind of like a grandpa in the industry at the age of 30. And he was like, how do I find affiliates? Well, let me tell you where I found them. And then everybody that I talked to that was in those first, 3 months. So it's like today we think, it'd be AI, right? They would go to ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini and be like, how do I find affiliates? And that's great. That's very helpful, but you're getting kind of generic advice as opposed to getting specific, like, okay, here's how I did it that actually worked. And here's all the stuff that I've also tried that did not work. So don't waste your time with that. Here's how to reach out to them. So yeah, we would go to AI now, but back when I created this, it's like all the things that people would just Google, how do I find affiliates? And they're getting such conflicting advice. And even with AI, you're getting conflicting advice, and one thing's saying this and the other thing's saying this. And what they want is just like, give me the plan, give me the thing I need to do. It's the same reason why I can look up what I could have looked up what was wrong with my, my car a few months ago and why it was making this weird sound. I just went to the Mercedes dealership, left the car with them and said, you figured this out.
Yeah. He was on a silver platter.
It's the same concept. Like, I could, but I don't want to.
Yeah.
I just want the thing fixed. Make it stop making that sound. And when you're done, give me my car back. Like, that's how, we operate with certain things. So it's kind of that same philosophy. So you're thinking about that person who's in those beginning stages. And after, I guess, I did validate it for 6 years and never really thought about it. So I guess the short answer to your question was yes.
What's your take on like the depth in which a good lead magnet should go, right? Like, I think that there's a lot of different ways that somebody can approach a lead magnet, a lot of different industries, of course. So this is quite a general question, but right. Like, should a lead magnet be like 100-page guide, or should it be like a singular, like, checklist? You know what I mean? Like, how deep should a lead magnet go?
I will forewarn you. I'm about to preach something that I did not practice with this guide, because this guide is about 20 pages. That is too long. Now, it's done really well. And I actually did try a condensed version of it that surprisingly did worse.
Wow.
And so, this has 15 places, and it's probably, I don't think it's 1,500 words. It's still pretty short. You can read this in, how long does it take to read 1,500 words? 12 minutes, maybe?
Not too long. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we read about 125 words a minute on average as a species. So 10 to 12 minutes. It should be short. I think of it, it's an ibuprofen. It's not a chiropractic program. It's a Tylenol. It's not a list of 42 exercises to do for the next 6 months to solve your back pain. I write about this, in my book there. I write about my dad. My dad had the perfect lead magnet, and this is back in the 2000s. My dad never owned a computer, never owned a phone, or telephone. What do you call those things? Smartphone, cell phone. Gosh, I didn't think of the word. Never one of those newfangled mobile phones, and he, never been on the internet a day in his life before he passed away in 2005. And yet I watched my dad and I learned from him. I didn't realize this, but fast forward 20 years later, I realized, oh my gosh, he was teaching me how to do a lead magnet because my dad was a golf instructor. So for those of you who've ever played golf, you can picture this. If you haven't, I might add a little bit more color to it. But on the practice tee, there'd be 20, 30 people hitting balls on the driving range. And inevitably, there's a few of them that he can tell are really struggling. It's that, they're swinging fast and then they're slamming their club into the ground. They're muttering to themselves. Their heads are down. And they're in pain, not physical pain necessarily, but they are in pain. They're not doing what they want to do. No different than if they can't find affiliates.
Yeah.
And so he'd find this person in pain and he would give them one tip, just one thing. It wasn't, let me give you a 45-minute lesson. It was, let me in 3 minutes give you one thing that will help you get a little bit better, that will reduce your pain. Tylenol, ibuprofen.
Yep.
He would give them that one thing. He would find them one thing. And in 3 to 5 minutes, they would hit a shot that they would look at him and say, that's the best shot I've hit in months. How do I sign up for more lessons? That's when he would sell them the $1,000 golf instruction package for 5 to 10 lessons over the course of 6 months. Yeah. That's what a lead magnet is. So it's that little piece of the puzzle, but it's the most important piece of the puzzle. It's the piece of the puzzle that without it, you can't get to that next level. So here's the thing. If you think about mine, and this is a terrible sales pitch because I should say my lead magnet is going to solve all of your problems. Once you find affiliates, it's easy. Well, it's not. There's actually a lot more to affiliate management than just finding affiliates. So all that stuff is where you either hire us to run your affiliate program or you pay for some of our stuff where I can coach you, et cetera, et cetera. We have other tools that you can use that'll help you. And so that's where you then purchase those things once you've solved that biggest problem. But if you have 0 affiliates, first of all, you have no need for that other stuff. Second of all, you don't even see the light at the end of the tunnel. If you suddenly wake up one day, you have 32 affiliates, but they're just not operating at their full capacity. You go, okay, I have 32 affiliates. I've made a few sales. I could see this being big.
Yeah.
But with no affiliates, you never even have hope.
It's not even there.
The same way that my dad had. So, I mean, he taught me all about lead magnets, even though I never got on a computer once.
Oh, that's such a good story. And it makes me think about this lesson. I want your reaction to this. Like, I feel like the 3-minute golf lesson is a sliver of what he was going to be teaching, right? In the 10-week, the 10-course golf package. And so taking something that you currently have, that you have as a paid product, right? You've got a course out there. Take a little slice off that course, turn it into this small modular mini course. That's a lead magnet, right? Take one of your most popular, guides that you're selling, right? And take it off, slice it off and turn that into a small, again, 3-minute golf lesson, turn that into that small low hanging fruit that can solve an immediate challenge. And then you have an audience of people that when they enjoyed that, exactly what they're going to like at the end of the rainbow. They're going to love that guide. They're going to love that course.
Yeah. Robbie, how many times have you heard me tell that story about my dad?
I can't even keep track.
Okay. That's the lesson. It's the thing that, like, my dad didn't tell, did he give each person something that was specific to them? Of course, because it's different advice, a person hitting a slice versus a person who's hooking it, a person who is, whatever, right? There's different advice. He's going to tell something different to an 80-year-old man and a 14-year-old kid. Very different things, but he's never said anything new. Not by 2002, 2003. By that point, he'd been teaching golf for 25, 30 years. He wasn't saying anything new. And it's your lead magnets are just the things that you say over and over again. In fact, the reality is every time I tell that story about my dad, I mean, I could tell that story in my sleep, and it's kind of boring. I hate to say it. And it should get to that point with the stuff that you're offering as a lead magnet. It should be the thing that you're saying over and over and over and over again. And then it's easy for you to put that into a lead magnet. I remember another one of our lead magnets is it's a promo checklist. If you're running an affiliate program, it's a promo checklist. It's just the one that we used. It's the one that I still use to this day. That sometimes I forget. When I forget to use, it means we screw things up.
Yeah.
And then I'm messaging Robbie like the night before going, dang it, we forgot to do that. Please update something. He's like, okay, got
That's
it.
when I opt Matt into the lead magnet, send it to him.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
show
of
him how to
course.
use the checklist.
And then I get a checklist from myself and wonder, that's interesting.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I mean, that like a lot of times it's stuff you're using yourself. I mean, your checklists are, well, think about it. If you're a photographer, if you're teaching photography, it's your studio portrait checklist. You probably use one.
Yeah.
So just make that the lead magnet. How long does it take you to create it? 0 seconds. Maybe
It's
you make it
incredible.
prettier. Okay. I added a logo to the top and made the check boxes a little, more stylistic. It took me 4 minutes, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I can think of 1,000 things. If you're if you're teaching people how to go vegan, don't do that, by the way. Don't teach people how to go vegan. It's a terrible life choice. But if you are, Robbie's like, I know. If you are though, then give them a shopping list. Guess what? It's probably the shopping list that you've used for the past 3 years of being vegan,
Yeah.
all these things, the stuff you're already using. That's honestly, I would replace that. That's the easiest way to build a lead magnet is just give them the thing that you're already using.
Yeah. Analyze what you're already doing in your own business, what you're already executing on, turn that into a lead magnet. I love it. Well, each lead magnet needs some kind of vessel to actually ask for, hey, email address, name, other questions we might want to get from our audience here. That's what's called either a landing page. Sometimes you could just have the form itself, embed that into a specific website you already have. Now, with your landing page here, I wanted to chat about, we're going to showcase one of the forms as well here. But I wanted to talk about like copy, right? In a landing page. And I know it really depends on what lead magnet is coming out here, what audience it's going to, but in general, do you favor longer copy, shorter copy? How do you approach writing out a landing page for a lead magnet?
Yeah, I approach it. I mean, the 5-second grunt test that Donald Miller talks about. I kind of approach it that way. Where your eyes go, they go right to the PDF. I mean, it's obvious that's where your eyes are going to go. This one is kind of, that bright red. The second thing it goes to is discover the secret to finding top affiliates in your industry. Okay, cool. I see that there are 7 checkbox, bullet points, but I'm not going to read them yet. Then I'm going to go up to the top and I'm going to be like, 604 affiliates. In fact, if I could update this page, I'll have to find it. I would probably bold 604 affiliates, $1.1 million a month. I would bold those things like just to be like, what can I do from a quick hitter standpoint? Yeah. So, 100 words or less, I think we probably, I'm guessing there's about 35 words in the bullets, another 50. Yeah. We're probably in the 70 word range. If I had to guess, that's pretty good. Your little disclosure at the bottom, you'll see, I always make it funny, usually involving jokes about mayonnaise. Because the truth is, when I wrote that, I hated mayonnaise. I'm actually becoming slightly less hateful of mayonnaise and can eat it in small quantities when mixed with large amounts of things like bacon and chicken. So I may have to update that in a little while. I wouldn't say I like mayonnaise. I just don't hate it anymore in small quantities, again. So,
Find a new
but like, try to make it, funny if you can. The biggest thing is just split test, like, why do I know for a fact that headline at the top works? Because I think we tried 7 to 10 different versions.
Yeah.
I never know what's going to work. When we do A/B split tests, I am wrong 75% of the time. And you go like, how can you be a good marketer and be wrong 75% of the time? Because I'm wrong for 2 weeks and then I get to be right for 5 years.
Yeah.
So we'll try A and B. And I'll be like, A is going to win. And then B wins. And then we'll try B versus C. I was like, well, B it did so good last time. It's going to, nope, C does better. And then eventually we kind of will do like D and E and C still winning. And then we'll try like F and G. And if C's still winning at that point, we're like, we probably have the best we're going to improve this by is 1%. So let's call it a day. Absolutely. As we're recording this, we're in the age of AI. Use AI as a brainstorming tool, but not a copywriter. AI is not there yet. Not even the newest version. I'm not going to mention because this will live for a while. I'm not going to mention like the newest version of what it's called right now. Not even, the one that you think is really good. It's not quite there yet at perfecting copy. But can you use it as a brainstorming tool? Absolutely. So what I do is I do have it right copy to the extent of like, if I were looking for that top copy and I knew that my limitations were, I wanted it to be 12 to 25 words. Like that's what I've got envisioned. I would say, here's what it is. Here's some information about, give me 15 possible, suggestions for a headline between 12 and 25 words. I would like 5 of them to have a humorous angle, 5 of them to be, blah, blah, blah. I would give it like pretty deep parameters. And then usually about 7 of them suck.
Yeah.
You can obviously tell they're not very good. And then about 3 of them are like, it doesn't suck, but they're not. And you're left with 5 that are pretty good. And then I'll write a couple of my own, and there's my split tests.
Right.
That I'll run over time.
Talk to me a little bit about just like, because I totally agree. Like throw something at a wall, see what sticks. If it sticks, keep doing it. If it doesn't work, you learn a lesson, right? That's what marketing is. So what is like, as far as when it comes to a landing page, in a lead magnet, what are the best ways to both in time frame of giving you your like quantity of time of trying different headlines out, different copy out, and number 2 is what is the KPI here that we should be tracking? Is it number of leads that flow in from that landing page itself?
Yeah, I mean, in the early stages, it's definitely, and Robbie, feel free to interject if I'm wrong on this, but in the early stages, yeah, I mean, we're looking at opt-in rate.
Yeah.
I mean, in theory, with certain, is it conceivable that you could have a lower opt-in rate and maybe a higher back-end conversion rate in terms of, average order size per visit? It's possible. We haven't seen that enough with, and I'm talking not just us, but like with our clients and stuff.
Yeah.
Typically, if version A has a 60% opt-in rate and version B has a 50% opt-in rate, then the dollars per opt-in are going to be so similar that version A is going to make more money because it had more opt-ins. Yeah. Usually more opt-ins is better. The only time that might, you'd have to have some pretty weird copy for it to swing, for the landing page to swing the back end, Yeah,
maybe a different lead magnet, but a landing page swinging it feels a little tight.
So yeah, I mean it's going to be opt-in rate is ultimately the metric, and typically it's a little bit of a subjective call. If I've had 500 visits, and let's say 1,000 visits, so 500 each, and the opt-ins are 352 to 227. I mean, the 352 is clearly, even over the course of the next 10,000, it's going to win.
Yeah.
That 227 is not going to scale close. So sometimes it's like, it's brutally obvious. I'll make a call after 400 or 500 visits. Other times if it's a lower opt-in rate, or it's, it's pretty close, it's 352 to 341. Well, let's go another 500. Let's see at what point does it, stretch to the point where I go, okay, it's close, but it's, sometimes I might even look at it and go, it's interesting. Like I'll look at, we haven't done this with any of our current ones, but I'm doing one with a client right now in the memory supplement space where we have 2 pages. And essentially what we ended up with was the best version combined elements of the 2.
Yeah.
Because we noticed we had, we use Crazy Egg, which is like a heat map. And so we noticed where people were going, and we noticed that like so if there's 5 sections to the page, so this page, for example, I would count this as 4 sections: that top red bar, the PDF, the middle copy, and then the form and the submit button.
Yeah.
So there were 5 sections on this page, and we noticed that like people were basically where they were looking at it and how they got, like where they ended up. And it was like section, like version 2 or version B of section 2, they were really dialing in there, but they weren't over here. And so we basically took these elements and combined them into version C, which ended up being the highest converting by far.
Yeah.
So if you're able to do stuff like that, you can use some of those secondary metrics. Just depends on, if you have enough traffic that justifies that, they're doing, 10,000 visits a day, so it's worth it. Long answer, I know, but it depends on how nerdy you want to get.
No, I like it. Well, let's slide in here and showcase exactly what this looks like. So this is one of the places that you promote this lead magnet, again, this dedicated landing page that I always think is worth having, so that you can have a dedicated link to have the digital real estate to describe why somebody should get this lead magnet. A couple other places that you promote it. I know you've got this pop-up form as well. Talk to me about this. Where does this live, and how does this kind of play out for your show?
Yeah, this was the thing I just said I learned about on my site. So I'm going to let Robbie tell us where that lives on my site.
Yeah, so this here we use as a timed pop-up on every page across our website for people who have not already opted into this lead magnet before. And that's one of the great things about Kit is right off the bat, like if somebody has already signed up for it and we have that tracker, basically, we know that they've signed up, then we don't show it to them. We don't want to interrupt their flow on the site. Say they're reading a blog post or listening to a podcast. We don't want that to disturb them. But for people who are new, we know that this is their number one problem. And so we have that timed, give them a little taste of what's on the site. And then in this instance, we don't send them to the thank you page. That way they can finish whatever content that they're reading.
That they're getting access to. Yeah, I saw that 30 seconds was the timer here that you have on here. And then
that's really cool.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. And then
can I ask, can I interject something there, Shiv? I mean,
yeah.
So is the reason why I don't see that, Robbie, because I did actually test it out 4 years ago and now it doesn't show it to me. Is that why I don't see that?
Exactly.
Okay. So that's an important point to point out. It's not going to keep showing the same pop-up to people once they've opted in, correct?
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. Well, there you go.
And then the other thing I wanted to chat about is, when you go and actually download, right, you want to get instant access there, and you get that delivery, that email that gives you the asset that they're looking for here. When inside a Kit, there's this aspect called, and maybe Robbie, I'd love to just have you touch on this, but there's this whole aspect of email about getting your email into somebody's inbox rather than their spam folder, called deliverability. A lot of different ways to approach that, a lot of different reasons why you should make sure that your deliverability is always in good standing. One of the ways at Kit that we help people make sure that happens is, and a lot of email tools will have something like this, called a double opt-in. The difference at Kit of what we do is we create that, what we call an incentive email, which is we combine the idea of sending an email that says, hey, confirm that you're on my list. Confirm that you want emails from me, so we can make sure this is an audience that actually wants emails. We combine that with the idea of actually delivering the lead magnet itself. This is something you could choose to do. It's something that you all have chosen to do. And I like that when you go in here, you have personalize the copy here, making sure that it's download your report, your first 100 affiliates, rather than just, confirm your subscription. But why do you all choose to do that? Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I'm happy to talk to that. So what we do with the incentive email is we use that across our whole suite of lead magnets, even for products and purchases. We always send those through to a form that delivers the goods right away, for lack of a better way to say it. We actually have the double opt-in turned off, but we do it carefully. We purposefully have another automation that allows us, if somebody hasn't taken specific actions in the first 2 weeks, then we automatically clean them, because list hygiene is, one of the best things, most important things you can do for deliverability in general. But even having that double opt-in turned off, we still use that incentive email, and as you pointed out, we customize the copy there. Nobody wants to confirm their subscription. People do want to download the report. They know they signed up for it and they want to take that action. And we purposefully use that button to draw that click. If they take that action, our list cleaning automation will make sure they stay. If they don't take that action, we actually have some other built-in emails that, push them ultimately to take that action.
Try to get them to do the action. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. So by turning that double opt-in off, we're getting multiple swings at the bat. In case, I don't know how many emails people get a day. If they're anything like me, it's like, oh, I got 500 emails. Hopefully I answer or open the ones that I remember.
Actually want. Yeah. Let me hit you with one last lead magnet form landing page question before we move on here. In the both the landing page itself and in the form, we're just asking for email address here. Just asking for email address. Now, in Kit, of course, you have the power to do a lot of things. We can add unlimited questions that we want. If we hit this plus button right here, we could ask for name, we could ask for their favorite color, we could ask for if they have become an affiliate, if they were affiliate already, or how, and it's probably information you'd love to know, right? Love to know how green or how experienced they are as an affiliate. So why at the top here do we just ask for email address? What's the strategy here?
Yeah, our strategy there is having the lowest bar to entry.
Yeah.
In our testing, even putting a first name on there, it was enough of a barrier that for our purposes, it wasn't worth it. We'd rather have the email address. We can get a first name later when they buy something. I know with some of my other clients that I've worked with before, having a first name actually improved their opt-in rate because it felt more personal. So it's really business by business. But for this purposes, we're like, let's just get them in the door. We can, get to know them once they're in the building.
And I think the lesson that you just said there, where you said, hey, once they're in the door, like we could always ask them first name. We could always ask them additional questions. How experienced are you as an affiliate, for example? All these things. I always equate the idea of a brand new lead to your most loyal customer like it's like dating. It's like the difference between bumping on somebody on the street and being on a first date to being married. And there's just a massive chasm of, hey, I would love to ask you 50 first questions, right, when I bumped into you on the street, but I probably only have time to ask you one or two before I scare you off. Versus, yeah, if you're my most loyal customer, throughout the journey, I've learned more and more about you. And by then I have the power to ask you a lot more questions because you trust me more. And so kind of spacing that out and letting it breathe a little bit is the best way to approach it.
Exactly. And I think I think this is in your slides there, but we do that specifically in our welcome sequence to kind of progressively profile our subscribers.
I'm excited to get there.
Robbie kind of went past it, but important thing there goes back to testing. Some people, you might be better off asking for first name. You might actually get a higher opt-in rate. And I would even argue that maybe if you get, if you have a 65% opt-in rate with no email or no first name, but a 64.5 with a first name, it might be worth it.
Yeah.
And so that's up to you. So test it both ways. I have heard from countless other people that are in similar niches before I decided to test it, that asking email only was the way to go. So that's why we tested it. And we found that it was definitely worth removing that barrier.
Right on. I love it.
Sometimes you want a barrier there. Like you
qualify the lead.
Exactly. Yeah. You qualify the lead ahead of time, depending upon what your monetization is on the back end.
Yeah. I find that to be the case for typically with like, this isn't always, but as a generality, I feel like a lot of businesses that have like a really expensive high tier offer where the sales cycle is very relationship based. It's very much, I need to be talking to you one-on-one to sell you on this program or this whatever our product is. Then yeah, maybe you're like, hey, I have the opposite problem. I have too many unqualified leads coming in. I'm going to, increase the barrier to entry so that we can make sure we get it qualified. It's just, it depends on your business and how you approach it.
Yeah.
Okay. So we talked about lead magnets, giving value through that. Let's talk about the idea of partnerships, the value of working together in the works to grow an email list. I'm a firm believer in the power of partnering through the form of, say, like being a guest on people's podcast, right? Or co-writing a blog article, being on each other's YouTube videos. We have a partnership happening right now as we record this, right? But what I will say about these styles of partnerships, 100% you should do them. But what I will say is that it does take quite a bit of we need to find who are the right people to partner with. We need to then, film. We need to do our research. We need to film, script, record, publish, and then promote a podcast episode, a blog article, a YouTube video. And so at Kit, we wanted to think about how can we take this very powerful form of growing an audience, right? Because in 2020, like nowadays, it's a need, it's a necessity to partnership and leverage that to grow your list.
Yeah.
And so how do we do that and turn it into an automatic way to make this happen? And what we came up with is the idea of the creator network and what sometimes we call it recommendations. Essentially the way it works is you can partner with other creators. We have this massive marketplace of people inside of Kit. You can partner with other creators to say, hey, if you love me, if you love Matt's stuff, you're also going to love this creator. You definitely got to check them out here. You can do that for other creators, and other creators can do that for you. And so for you, Matt, I know that you are, when you scroll through the marketplace, we try to make it, fairly easy for you to find who are the right people to partner with. That's probably that's the hard part, honestly, because the technology is quite easy. The hard part is, who are you going to strategically partner with to actually grow your list? A couple of things we do to help you out with that in the marketplace. We tell you who is the fastest growing creators within their size. We tell you who are sending out consistently. Matt's somebody who does both, so he's a great person to recommend if you're watching this video. But then,
I agree with that, Chip, just for the record.
Yeah. You're like, I endorse that message. But I do want to ask you, Matt, when the strategy comes down to, hey, who are you going to choose to recommend? What goes into your decision on the people that you do recommend?
It's the same question we ask with like, who would make a good affiliate, or who would I be a good affiliate for? Yeah. If we're talking about who would make a good affiliate, the question is, do they have my audience? Or is a percentage of their audience the same as the type of people that I'm looking for? So again, if my dad were going out and doing this back in the day, going to people who had an audience of golfers would be the recommended way to do it. And I didn't think about it because I wasn't thinking about it in terms of affiliate stuff back then. But when I ran our golf schools for my dad and I taught these golf schools, and they were great. I would we partnered with like local hotels and stuff.
Yeah.
And these hotels, it was like you're booking a hotel stay in the golf capital of the world, Pinehurst, North Carolina. Would you like to add a golf school to your package? And only 1% of people did. But if that hotel was booking, 50 a day, we're getting 2 recommendations every week from, different, probably 4 or 5 different hotels.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money. I mean, these are, $2,000 golf packages, right? So those are the types of things. Like, not everybody booking a hotel in Pinehurst, North Carolina even plays golf, let alone wants to do a golf school. But it was an easy way for the hotel to make, these are usually like local hotels, right? That have, 40 to 50 rooms. It was an easy way for them to make an extra $35,000, $40,000 a year, and an easy way for them to serve their audience with just a, simple checkbox. So that's the thing, is like, do they have your audience? And then the same is true when I'm thinking about being an affiliate for somebody. The very first question is, do I know, like, and trust the product or the creator of the product? I don't know. There's a rule that a lot of people have, that I need to use the product and I need to love it. The only reason why I disagree with that is something that I mentioned earlier, which is I'm 6 years ahead of my audience. Now I'm 20 years ahead of my audience, right? It's been 20 years since I was in their shoes. The things that I recommend. So if you ask me, what affiliate software do you use? I don't recommend to a beginner the same one that I use. The one that I'm using right now, it's $300 a month, right?
Yeah.
I don't recommend you start off with a $300 a month affiliate tracking software. I don't recommend that you start off with, the same lighting kit that I bought, recently, because most people don't have that kind of money when they're starting their platform. So I find a lower cost beginner product that I may have not tried, but I can look at it and go, okay, it has 1,400 reviews on Amazon and it has a 4.9. I can honestly recommend that, you know? So I still answer that question. Like, do I like the product, or do I know the person behind it? Do I have a relationship with them that I can authenticate that this is a person who's worth following and learning from? And then the second question is, do I have the audience? So I can love you to death, but if your product is that you teach people how to invest in Bitcoin, I don't have the audience for that. I probably have 5 people who might want to do that, but not enough that it would be worth, my time or yours.
Yeah.
Those are the big questions.
And I feel like there's also this case of like, there could be just people in the industry, like people that personally that you're like, hey, I have some trust. I have some trust with these people. There has to be some element of trust that you have in that person's content, because when you're recommending somebody, you're putting your stamp of approval just as much as when you are sending out an email or delivering a product. You're saying, hey,
Yeah.
this product will, give you value. This lead magnet will give you value. This email will. And I know this person, now that I'm putting my stamp of approval, I'm the person in my friend group. Like, don't come and ask me for restaurant recommendations because I'm such a yes man. I've ruined my reputation of restaurants because, hey, Shiv, do you like the local Chinese place that just opened? Yeah, it's great. Do you love that Michelin star restaurant? It's great. It's all great. Everything is great to me. When everything's great, nothing's great. And so don't be Shiv when you're talking about recommendations. You need to be curated and making sure that it's particular and helping your audience.
You're the guy that recommends the taquitos from the local 7-Eleven, aren't you?
Exactly. I'm like, chef's kiss.
Actually, ironically, the best taquitos I've ever had in my life were at a gas station in Baltimore, Maryland. So
you're like, genuinely do regret those.
They were amazing. I mean, you saw there. Go back one. Can you go back one screen? I just saw, like, okay, I'm recommending the two that I recognize there. I see Pat and I see Igor, right?
Yep.
Those are two people that I know. I mean, smart passive income, perfect for my audience. List building, perfect for my audience.
Yeah.
I see on the recommended buy side, I don't know who the one on the left is, but I see Bob Bly.
Yeah.
Bob's also one of our top, actually, I think he is our top affiliate consistently month in and month out. So again, my stuff is not a perfect overlap with his stuff, but it's really tangential. It's like, if you're on his list, there's an 80% or greater probability, 80% or greater probability that you will be interested in Matt's stuff.
Yeah.
So again, I don't think anybody sold more books or more courses of mine, maybe other than Tom Woods, than Bob. I mean, so it's a perfect match. So that's really what it is. And here's the deal, it goes back to testing. If you're not sure, if you're on the fence about it, first of all, if you're on the fence about recommending somebody and you're already recommending 14 people, is adding a 15th really going to make or break you? Probably not.
Mm-hmm.
But if you've only got two and you're like, well, who are the other two that I should add? Pick 4 or 5, see which ones actually convert the best, drop off the lowest 2 or 3 converters, and keep the rest.
And then keep it going. Yeah, I love it.
I wanted to point out too, Kit's discovery platform on the creator recommendations has improved so much over the last year that now you can go in and you can find, like, without even really searching much, you can find incredible creators out there who you may not find in various other ways. And immediately you can sort by topic, you can sort by audience. And then what you can do, and this is what I do, and total transparency, I work at Sparkloop as well. But what I do is I will go sign up for these people's newsletters, and I will kind of put myself in the shoes to know, like, and trust them, so that I feel confident in that recommendation. And it's just again, it's a great way to build those additional relationships, actual relationships with these other creators, and that's how you ultimately get their recommendation back.
Yeah, one of my favorite things to do when I'm kind of perusing through, again, like you said, there's thousands and thousands of people in this marketplace. So I've yet to find a niche where I couldn't find somebody that they could find value in recommending, and vice versa. But one thing we do to make it easier for you, we go and we have this thing inside a kit called a creator profile. And so you can go in here, you can create an entire profile with, for yourself that shows some of your past emails. They can read through that, right? You can see some of the links that are important to people that they currently recommend, all the things here. But to take it even further, like Robbie was saying, one thing I just love doing is I'll drop my email address down to just, maybe 5-10 people that I'm in the prospective stages of recommending, right? And let me just actually subscribe directly to your email list. You can see again here how recommendations shows up with that pop-up afterwards. Hey, here's people you can recommend or you can follow. But what I'll do is I will go to then Gmail and I make a folder. I make a folder in Gmail that says potential recommendations. And I put, Matt's newsletter in there, and I put, maybe 5-10 other people that I'm like, hey, here's some people I subscribe to for this purpose. And what I will do is I've got the biggest habit where I'm like doom scrolling on Instagram on this thing all the time. But what I do instead is I take some time away from Instagram. I'm like, hey, let me open up Gmail. Let me open up that category here, and let me just scroll and read some of these newsletters and start going. And some of them I'll say, hey, great content, maybe not particularly good for my audience, but I like what's happening here. Okay, that's okay. No harm, no foul. Unsubscribe. But then maybe I'll read, a couple issues of Matt's and I'm like, wow, this is really good stuff. My audience would absolutely love this. I think we have a lot of overlap. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll hit the reply button and I'll say, hey, I read the last couple issues of your newsletter. I really related to this story. I love what you're writing here. By the way I found you is through the Creator Network. I think we might have some overlap. There's no better compliment in the world than as a creator when you're out here creating in your podcast studio in your room, you're writing away on your computer, and somebody reaches out and they're like, hey, by the way, I've been following your stuff and it's really it's helping me out and I like what you're doing. It's awesome. And so that's, I think, the warmest introduction you can give to somebody that you want to be recommending back.
Nice.
Well, one other thing I'll say as you're going through this, the marketplace, just like I was saying, Robbie was saying here, creator type, topic, all great ways to filter this down. This search bar at the top here, I had this one guy, his name's Maurizio. He bakes sourdough bread, writes a newsletter about it. And he was like, Chef, I couldn't help but notice under creator type, there's no bread option. There's only a chef option. I'm like, yeah, Maurizio, you're right. There's no bread option, but you can use this to your advantage because that creator profile, it almost acts as searchable keywords within this. And so leverage it almost for a, like, let's say SEO type of way in this search functionality here to find, in this case, not only bread newsletters, but there's multiple sourdough bread newsletters that you can see here. I promise you'll find your match if you find your right keywords in the search bar here.
Absolutely.
I love it. Okay. We talked about the idea of gaining new subscribers through lead magnets, partnering with others to gain new subscribers. Let's talk about building trust with those emails, with the messages that we're sending out. And when we talk about building trust, the goal of, the start of that oftentimes is going to be the welcome sequence. It's going to be the first couple emails, first 3, 4, 5, 10 emails that somebody gets from you to say, hey, here's who I am. I related back in lead magnets. I related it to dating. Again, same way. First impressions matter in real life, in your personal life. First impressions definitely matter in business. And so we need to make sure we nail that here. So I want to actually just like slide in and take a look. We'll like pull up the full automation and kind of dive into that. But let's actually just jump straight into the emails that we send out here. Why don't you talk me through, Robbie or Matt, talk me through what we're looking at here and your strategy for the welcome sequence.
Can I talk about the strategy real quick, Robbie? And then I'll turn the rest over to you. But this was, this email has lasted for a long time. I don't think I've changed a word in this email. In fact, I'm reading it right now, kind of going, wait, is there something in here I need to update? No, I think we're good. It's number one thing is just to solicit replies. There's so many reasons for that. Number one, if from a deliverability standpoint, if in the early stages of an email relationship, right, if we can solicit a reply, the odds of the subsequent 20 plus emails landing in their inbox, their primary tab, are infinitely greater. We don't violate any of the typical norms. I don't use a lot of dollar signs in my emails. We don't talk about like pills and things like that, things that we know what they are, right? There are no Nigerian princes mentioned in any of my emails. So we don't have to worry about those, right? So our deliverability is naturally pretty high, and our open rate, I mean, you're in the account, but Robbie, it's north of 25%, isn't it? I think it might even be in the low to mid 30s. It's pretty good. And so deliverability is not an issue for us, but getting that reply just means you're more likely to be delivered in the future, both to that person and on a universal level, because, Gmail's the biggest one. Let's be honest, like they're 70% of the market right now. And so when they see, wow, this Matt at McWilliams.com guy gets a lot of replies, that's good. We actually I make sure that we send one email roughly every 2 weeks. That's sole purpose is to get a reply. Shiv, that is a hugely important thing.
Yeah.
Most of those will only get between 30 and 75 replies. Mm-hmm. But it's 30 to 75 replies, like where most of the emails are like, click here to listen to the podcast, click here to buy, click here to learn more, whatever it is. But at least every 2 weeks. And sometimes I forget that. And, Robbie, you're the one who does, you're like, I'm sure you noticed it, like, well, it's been 3 weeks, Matt, it's because I forgot. But I typically try to purposely schedule one about every 2 weeks. That's sole purpose is to generate a reply. And that's hugely important. So that's the number one reason for this email. The other one is just kind of a personal email. It's like, hey, I want to hear from you. And I get things from people and I learn about them, not only on a one-to-one level, but also on a macro level. Like, it's funny, over the past month, I've had a lot of people writing me and their response is saying this. Maybe I should do a podcast episode about that. Maybe, whatever, like I could, maybe I should add an email to the sequence. And I would say that over the past close to 10 years of having this email in there have probably been between 30 and 60 pieces of content created as a direct result of this email, of the replies I get. So I'd say I pretty safely could say about a year's worth of the podcast episodes out of the last 10 years have been a direct result of this email. Like, so makes it easy for me.
To recap there, the replies are number one. They're helping your deliverability, making sure that your emails are getting more into the inbox. They're number two, they're giving you ideas for what you should create content about and helping that flywheel keep on going so you don't have to keep thinking of net new ideas all the time. You're getting feedback on what they want to hear from you. And number three, you're starting a conversation with the people that are just deepening a relationship just on the offset with you by telling exactly what they want to hear from you and you delivering on that. You're creating a deeper relationship just at the start. That's the thing. I love the idea of starting off right at the top here with, hey, how do we kick this off by learning more about you? I really, really like that. Well, one other thing that's cool that you do at the top here, and I know, Robbie, we're going to go through a couple of the emails here. We got like 5 in the welcome sequence. One of the things that we do here, this is where personalization starts to take fold, right? Like a lot of times when people hear about emails, they hear kind of this general term of like, hey, the more personalization, the better. How do I get personalized to each individual person? Here's one way you can do it here, right? So what this is saying right here is, hey, if you don't have the first name yet, we can just say, hey, but if we do have the first name, we can actually include that in here. Is there a place that later on after that first form you guys asked for first name there then?
Yeah, we'll ask on purchases. We don't go, hey, go to this page and fill out your first name, because that's super weird. It's actually funny looking at this now. We actually have a rotating snippet that we use that I need to update this email now that we can place anywhere that kind of, it mixes it up a little bit. So it's not always, hey, first name, hey, first name, hey, it's like, hey, friend, hey, whatever, hey, affiliate guy, like, so, we always are trying to experiment with new ways to connect to people. And we want to do that with like how Matt actually talks, instead of, just some generic, hi, reader. We like to keep it real.
You're telling me that's not warm and fuzzy for people to hear?
I feel warm and fuzzy after that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so email number one seems like the goal is, let me learn more about you. Let me tell you a little bit about me and what you can expect. And I love the upfront expectations. Here, tell me a little bit about you. Email number two, walk me through this one. What do you want? What is this one doing?
So actually, I want to frame this a little different too, because in this welcome sequence, email number one, the me plus you that we just went through, that's actually the second email they get because we're using that incentive email.
Right.
So it's delayed a day. It's like, let's let them read or go through whatever the lead magnet was. And then we're following up, building that relationship. And so by day 3, what we're looking at here with this, what do you want? This is our primary segmentation email. And this is where we're doing that progressive profiling. This is one, where we're trying to figure out, where are you? Do you have 1,000 subscribers? Are you trying to make money with affiliate marketing, or are you actually trying to grow affiliates? Because a lot of times what we've found is that people who, download this report, or any of the lead magnets we have, they actually want these other tangential things. So this here, one thing to kind of to frame this again is, this is a general welcome sequence that we send almost everybody through so that we can profile them. We have some other more specific ones for various lead magnets, but everybody gets this one.
Yeah, and there's multiple ways to do something like this. Again, this comes back to A/B testing, right? Like, try the format that makes the most sense for you. You could have a few links that people could click on and find that that's going to give you a higher, conversion rate on getting people to self-prescribe where they're at and segment them out. Another way inside a kit is if you hit this plus button and scroll down, there's this feature called a poll, and we could actually go ahead and like create a whole poll where we have multiple options that people can use there, and they can kind of select right there and get the tag immediately on their profile as well.
Exactly. Yeah. Each one of these is a link trigger. So we set this up before polls existed in Kit, and just haven't updated it.
And it's a great way to,
because it works.
It works. It's a great way to do it too. Going to email number 3. So again, email 1, we're learning about them. Email 2, we're starting to get a little bit more segmented out. Delete this poll for you. Email 3 here. What are we doing with my favorite tools for online business?
Yeah, this is kind of a practice what you preach email. Where
I was just about to say that. Those exact words. Wow.
Awesome. Yep. It's like we've known each other for a while. But yeah, this is his practice what you preach email. He's like, hey, look, I'm not only an affiliate manager, I'm also an affiliate marketer. Here's tools that are best for everybody. Not only that, but again, this is another lead magnet, which helps us profile, and it's got a funnel on the back end. So if anybody makes a purchase in there, we're recouping any potential costs that we spent to acquire that subscriber.
Right.
And at the same time, we're again profiling that subscriber so that we can do some of the more advanced conditional formatting and stuff later on.
Yeah. And I noticed, we got incentive emails, email number 1. Then me plus you is a day after that. What do you want is the day after that? After that, the next 3 emails have increased to 2 days as the buffer in between. Any reason? Was there some testing that went into that told you that, hey, let's increase the amount of weights in here?
Matt, you can remind me, but I don't remember that we
it
ever
was more
tested
of just,
that.
Yeah, I don't think that was something we tested. It was more about what I'd seen with some other people that was working. So again, it's kind of like you asked me earlier, did I verify that this was what people wanted? And no, but I kind of had been for years. Basically that amounts to, it's 6 emails. If you include the incentive email, it's 6 emails in like 9 days.
Yeah.
And that's about the cadence that I go with. Like, we don't send a daily email. Some people do. I don't have a problem with it. I am on a couple of lists where I get about 10 to 12 emails a week from them.
Yeah.
No problem with it. I've stayed on their list. There have been other people I unsubscribe and I only get 1 a week.
Yeah.
Because how much is too much of a good thing? There is an answer. If it's chocolate, probably, 1 bar a day is about the max you should eat realistically. But if it's like the sugar, if it's like stevia sweetened and it's really good, if it's a keto chocolate, maybe it's 2.
Sure.
If it's vegan, the answer is 0. I'm just gonna make fun of vegans. I'm really, I'm losing like 2% of the audience really fast here.
We'll have to slip another one in there somehow.
Well, don't worry, they're not gonna make it anyway. So
one of the reasons we put this delay in here too, now that I think about it, is because it actually mirrors the real email broadcasts more closely.
Yeah.
There are some days where Matt's like, I don't have an email today, and that's okay. And so because during the welcome sequence, we actually silo these people out. They don't get our regular daily emails.
Sure.
This kind of keeps that cadence. And basically, I think about it like we're constantly training our audience so that when it comes to the regular broadcasts, they know what to expect. And so that's what we're doing with the welcome sequence here too.
Yep.
I like it. Over here, we got a bit of value that you're delivering here. Is this because here you're given this free ultimate guide to creating a resource page? This is different than the lead magnet that they had already gotten, which was a free resource. This is almost a surprise free resource in the middle of the sequence.
That's actually exactly what it is.
So this here is
almost 1 week after they sign up. Yep.
Yeah. It's actually basically a resend of the previous email.
Mm-hmm.
Where we filtered out anybody who has already taken that action.
Okay.
Because we don't want to hammer them, hey, download this thing that they already have. So you can see the little filter there, where this is just kind of an as Matt refers to it, it's an extra swing at the bat, where we're like, hey, let's put this out there again. We know this is one of our top performing lead magnets that everybody on the list wants.
Yeah.
And so let's put it out there one more time.
And the people who didn't get that they are getting excited about this, seeing this in the emails, and hey, wow, this is this free resource that I didn't even know about, and they can grab that.
Yeah.
Last but not least, here again, we're always it seems like a core part of your strategy here again is to get feedback, is to ask questions, it's to learn about your audience. So we're ending out with a survey here. Just wrap up for me and talk to me about this in comparison, especially to maybe some of the earlier questions that you asked.
Yeah, so we can use the earlier emails to get some basic segmentation data.
Yeah.
The replies help with deliverability. This survey itself it's a much more in-depth. It's kind of a bigger commitment. Maybe they made a purchase or something like that, but this still allows Matt to like really strike up a conversation.
Yeah.
We get a lot of content ideas from this survey. And I know some of your best affiliates have actually come from this survey as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this one is, I mean, some of the questions we ask, are you full-time with your business? That's an important question, like to learn, what of my content do you like the most? And I'm looking at the results right now. I mean, 76.2% of the people say it's the how-to content. To me, that's like, there's a reason why when we look at this, there's a reason why so many of the podcast episodes start with the words, how to blank. Like I'm telling you exactly what you're going to get in this episode.
Yeah.
That came from noticing that and also analyzing some other stuff, that these are the things where, I'm learning what the audience wants. And then there's, a couple of areas where it's like, what do you like most about my content? Just write stuff. And I mean, yeah, I learned so many people said, you write and speak I'm reading one exactly here. You write and speak plainly, you seem more authentic. Cool. That is who I am. Now I can just play more into that. And it became like a lot less important for me after seeing that repeated by literally over 1,000 people essentially saying the same thing.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't need to worry about trying to super polish this stuff. And my brand is never going to be like, I'm not making fun of anybody that I am making fun of here, but like, here's me in my Lambo, I don't have a Lambo, so I'm not going to pretend like I do. And, like my whole platform and like me talking about the fact that, I took 3 weeks off around Christmas. That's an important, like I took 3 weeks off. I didn't go to Dubai, and I didn't fly on a private jet. Nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying like it allowed me to lean into my brand, which was just me being me more. And so I think the point of the survey kind of seems obvious, but I think the most important thing to do if you're doing one of these surveys is to have the open-ended questions and just read what people write word for word. And not only will you I mentioned earlier, those replies probably generated 52, podcast episodes. This survey probably generated another 75 to 100 pieces of content over the last 10 years.
It's awesome. It's awesome. Always be getting feedback from the audience here. I just really quickly before we get out of this section here, want to transition to the more like macro of this particular automation. We're not going to go through like every single thing that this automation triggers off and break down every automation in your account, but just to show a couple cool things, like, like Robbie said at the top here, one of the first things that you do. So first of all, you can have multiple places in your, on the internet that are pointing over to this particular welcome sequence, right? This particular automation. And so great example of that is like you said, you have the landing page and you also have the form that both have the lead magnet being delivered. That could be 2 different sources that come in, for example.
Exactly. And you can see here, primarily for this automation, the welcome sequence, we use that tag as the trigger point. As you can see, all the 0 or 15. Like
this is the primary.
I've actually been meaning to update this for a while now.
Clean it up a little.
Create a new version of this just to clean it up. But you can see that's where all the traffic comes from.
Right. And then at the top here, again, one of the first things that you do, you have this switch. You have this switch flipper right here that says, hey, we have this question on everybody's profile. Are they broadcast worthy? Are they worthy of send? Is this what you use for the newsletter? Are they worthy of getting in the newsletter emails? Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and set that up to no at the top. immediately deliver that full sequence that we just talked about, all those emails.
Yep.
And then after that's finished, then we'll set it back to yes. And now these are the people that can safely get those emails. So many people worry about, am I going to annoy my audience at the beginning? How do I make sure I can control that? This is how you control that.
Exactly.
And then from there, it kind of follows suit to what you all were saying. There's a massive segmentation strategy that you all have built into the business, making sure everybody's getting the right message, right time, right person. We're learning more about the audience. And so there's so many different buckets you have here. There's even one, particularly if they haven't filled out any of these parameters that you've asked for, there's even a bucket for those people if they haven't filled anything out.
Where we call for that segment again. One of the things we do with each of these buckets is once somebody self-selects into that bucket, we fire off various other automations, which are evergreen newsletters for each bucket.
Yeah, very cool. And you can see here just a couple of like those buckets here. It's, email list building, beginner affiliate marketing, intermediate, bucket for affiliate management. There's so many different aspects based on who somebody is and what content's going to be best and most valuable to them. It's really good. Okay. So we talked about, again, gaining new subscribers. We talked about building trust. Let's wrap up here with our last two things here with making some money. Let's talk about the monetization strategy and how we make money for the business here. Couple different things here. Why don't we start off with this, the Tripwire recruiting swipe files, because I know these kind of all work together, but this one seems to be the first step in our monetization strategy here.
Go ahead, Robbie.
I'll let you talk to these.
I don't want to talk about that. I think we'll just tag team on it then. I mean, this was, to me, again, it's like, okay, what's the very next problem? We talked about the very first one. Okay, so I'm going to show you where they are, how to find them. Logically, what is the very next problem? How do I reach out to them? Well, here you go. I answered that question for $17.
Yeah.
So maybe not obviously, but it's a pretty low barrier. We have a pretty good conversion on this. Dan Kennedy said a buyer is a buyer is a buyer, right? Like I learned this at Shutterfly in 2012. We did a campaign where we gave away a free greeting card. Free greeting card. These are like personalized greeting cards. They're worth, I think they normally sell for like $5.
Yeah.
You get one for free. And we had like 400 and some odd thousand people redeem this free greeting card.
Yeah.
When we did 10 for 99 cents. Okay. So if you do one free and then you buy 9 more, that you're paying $45, or you can buy 10 for 99 cents. What's your guess on how many redeem the 10 for 99 cents, Shiv?
Ideally a lot of them.
No, less than 10,000.
Wow.
A fraction of 400,000 plus. The biggest barrier that you will ever encounter is not from paying $17 to $20,000 or from $1 to $100 or $100 to $25,000. It is from zero to anything.
Yeah.
It's the inertia of literally having to, right now, my credit card is up the stairs, down the hall, and in a basket.
Yeah.
By our garage door, basically. So if I'm sitting here going, recruiting, I really want to walk all the way up there. Nah, I'm just going to click on the. So that, you think $17 to solve a big problem doesn't seem like a lot, but 85% of people don't. Yeah. But those 15% of people who do, who took that initiative and who took the next step, it's like, man, they are infinitely more likely to pay us any amount of money for anything we ever offer than somebody who doesn't.
Well, let's break that down a little bit. Once we do get there, what is that next step for that audience, the people who bought that $17 offer?
It's a great question, Robbie. What's the next step? I don't remember, to be honest with you. Is that page right there where I'm apparently speaking? So yeah,
it's your masterclass. This is the 4-hour long training. Like if somebody says, I want my first 100 affiliates, now I know how to recruit them because you've given me some swipe files. Now we go into, all right, we know you're invested. Here's the full meal deal where Matt goes in. He goes into everything here. It goes into all the myths of affiliates and reasons somebody might not want to be an affiliate, reasons somebody would want to be an affiliate, how to talk to affiliates, and like this is everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So again, it's that next step. It's like I mentioned earlier, who cares about activating affiliates? Who cares about motivating affiliates if you don't have affiliates? Okay, so we've gone, you know where to find them, you know how to reach out to them. Now, how do you motivate them? How do you get them to do more? How do you get more affiliates? Like, how do you get the affiliates to refer other affiliates? Because I talk about this in the download. One of the best ways to get affiliates is to get your affiliates to refer other affiliates. But, this could be an Abbott and Costello routine, but I don't have any affiliates. Well, ask your affiliates to refer affiliates, but I don't have any affiliates. Well, just ask your affiliates. Like, no. So again, you talk about the flywheel. That's part of the flywheel is you get your affiliates to recruit. We talk about that. So you can't really have any of that stuff. So again, it's like, just keep asking yourself, what's next? What's next? What's next? Eventually you have to like not have a sixth offer, but what's next? What's next? What's next? And always remember that. I'll never forget Jeff Walker. We were at a private event in Tennessee, and he said something that stuck with me as long as I live, hopefully. He said, always remember that 5% of your audience will pay 5% or 5 times more for the next thing. And it could be as high as 10% of your audience paying 10 times more, but 5 to 10% of your audience will pay 5 to 10 times more for the next thing. And sometimes and eventually that next thing might just be ease.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, you know how to find affiliates. You know how to reach out to them. You know how to but you don't want to do any of that. Oh, cool. Just hire us.
Yeah. Yeah. Then we'll take it over for you.
Final thing. Yeah, or coach me to do it or whatever. Yeah.
Before I get to that coaching section, I do want to ask about one aspect of this offer. Talk to me about the one-time offer part of this, the scarcity aspect of this.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know the exact price, but I think we sell, it's called the affiliate code. And Robbie, I think if you go to the website, I'm going to look it up now. I think it sells for like $497, give or take $100, and I think on this page, it's like $97.
Yeah.
So the aspect is like, yeah, I mean, and I often say this, you can buy it tomorrow. You're just going to pay more.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. You're probably going to want to buy this anyway. So just buy it now while it's cheaper, like better for me if you buy it tomorrow, because I make more money.
Yeah.
But, so I'm honest about that. Like when I send out, we just did a big promo for Black Friday. And I was like, I even asked in one of the emails, I said, is this product going away? I was like, no, it's going to be there tomorrow. You're just going to pay 3 times as much. So buy it now. Yeah. So be honest on these things. Like, don't create fakes. There's not fake scarcity. If you close this page though, my understanding, and I could be wrong, is like, you don't have a way to really access it again.
Yeah.
There's not like, you can't just like access the page. It truly is it's like 15 minutes long before it just expires. And yes, okay, if you want to get technical, and I'm not necessarily saying people should do this, but if you like open it up in an incognito browser, could you re-trigger the timer? I think on a different computer, I think you probably could. The technology's not quite there yet. Let's just be all honest with each other. We're all friends. So yeah, are there ways around it? But let's be honest, most people aren't doing that. So
yeah. Makes perfect sense. And then last but not least, it's that package of, hey, what is that 5-10x package that you have here? We've got coaching, done for you services. Talk to me about that.
Yeah. So this is actually a behind the scenes coaching where we have taken a piece of a recording from real coaching that Matt did. And we're just offering this as number one, to kind of give them kind of an extra way to think about affiliates and how to motivate their affiliates. At the same time, we're seeding this idea that, hey, Matt does coaching. And we've done enough direct asks by this point that we don't want to go, now hire us. Because like, again, this is progressive. You don't want to, especially if somebody, downloads it, they go right into this, right into this, right into that. And you're like, buy my coaching. Like, you come across as creepy and weird. And so we're more just planting that idea. Like, by the way, this is something that Matt does, and we're not even directly saying it, but really just reminding them or future casting, like, These are options. And we've had people reply to emails and like, hey, I saw that you did coaching. Can you tell me more about that? And
Yeah.
Matt, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's how most of the coaching clients come along. Is they're like, hey, don't you do coaching? You're like, oh, well, let's
Yeah,
talk.
it's interesting that this something like 1 out of 10 people who get this end up becoming coaching clients, not from a direct appeal for coaching. It's more like, and this is like a 15-minute video. The value is that I have never shared this publicly and never will. This was a private coaching call. We got permission from the guy that I was coaching, who sadly has passed away recently. And that sucks. But anyway, you know, we got permission from him to like, hey, do you mind if we share this? Like, I think there was like one kind of sensitive piece of information. We'll strip that out. And he's like, no, go ahead. You know, you guys have done so much for me. Go ahead. So it's, yeah, like Robbie said, it's a subtle way of basically saying, yeah, I do coaching.
Yeah.
And if you want to get this same kind of value that's personal to you,
You can sign up.
you should sign up. And so, yeah, I get people all the time, you know, once a month or so that reach out. It's very high ticket coaching. And they're like, I saw that you did this. I'd like for you to do the same for me. You know, how do we do that?
Yeah.
No appeal. They never even saw an email, never even saw on the site that I do coaching, like necessarily.
Just got this page and got the content.
Yep.
Very good. Very good. Well, I just want to showcase, this is the lesson I wanted to show just very quickly. Like inside of Kit, we do have a section under earn and products. I'm not going to go into like too much depth inside here, but just, it's very, very easy within like minutes to, if you did want to deliver, say like a guide, if you wanted to create a paid product, we could very quickly be like, probably it's worded better than my guide, like I'm saying here, but charge for what you want here. Say we want to do $17, upload the file and deliver the product that you have here, whether it's paid newsletter, again, a file here, something else. And then within,
So
1, 2, 3,
easy.
we're just instantly creating an entire sequence where we're able to create the sales page, the checkout page, confirmation page, the receipt email, which by the way, just like in those other emails, can be personalized with things like first name, all that kind of stuff, coupons and all of it. Very easy to do. Okay. One last way of monetization before we wrap up here, I wanted to quickly highlight. We talked about paid recommendation, or sorry, that's not true. We talked about free recommendations and the idea of gaining new subscribers in the sense of trying to build a list, right? But there's a whole nother system that we have inside of Kit where you can browse another marketplace of people who are called paid recommendations, pick those creators to recommend, and then you get paid for every subscriber that you send over to them. And so it's another form of monetization that you could leverage. When you have that pop-up that comes up that you saw earlier, you see a couple of these that say sponsored, then you can see that those are the ones that are being leveraged through paid recommendations. This is powered through Sparkloop. So, it's nice to have Robbie here too. But just really quick, I just want to quickly show that to y'all. This is something that I know for you, Matt, like you very lightly like leverage this. It's not the biggest lever, but it certainly is something that you have on. And for creators that are watching this out there, it's a way that you can kind of just within a click of a button, especially if you're already leveraging the strategy of recommendations, you don't have to really change the content or the style of what you're doing for your business. And it's another way to add a monetization lever that's incredibly easy and can add some good money to the business. And so here you can see
that's great for new creators, people who are just starting out. They're like, how do I monetize?
Yeah.
Well, Matt say, of course you can monetize through affiliate marketing, but this is another basically one click option to start monetizing.
Easy to do it.
Like Robbie said, if you're just starting out, sorry, Shiv.
No, go for it.
If you're just starting out, you don't have products. You don't even really know what your audience is going to buy or what they might be interested in. Recommend some of these things. You might as well make, let's be honest, when you're just not, you're not going to make more than $5 a day, probably.
Sure.
But okay, if you at the end of the month you made $150, even $75, even $50, it's like I'm doing a infomercial there. You're not going to pay $150, and we're going to throw in a free set of Ginsu knives with this. Wait, you guys are going to give people Ginsu knives, right?
We'll find out. It will be a surprise if you do.
Okay. Well, you give them a free rotisserie cooker. Anyway.
Yeah, perfect.
I'm making promises for you now.
Damn, wow.
Anyway, so like, even if you make $50, it completely changes the psychology of your business. That's the important part about the creator network and like the paid recommendations is even $50. At the end of the month, that $50 probably paid for your website hosting. If you're really, really starting out, it might have paid for your kit account, and like if you profited $1 in your first month or even in your second month, you profited $1 psychologically, if you're married and now you're going to your spouse and saying, we actually made money this month. How much? Well, we're not going to Ruth's Chris, but we are going to go to Arby's, That's still different than, we lost $182 the last 2 months because I spent on hosting and kit and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, your wife's going to be like, your husband's like, why are you giving Kit all this money?
Right.
And now it's like, actually, Kit's making us a few bucks.
Yeah.
Psychologically, I cannot tell you, as somebody who's started multiple business where I spent the first year in the red, it is a different mentality when you're in the black from day one, even if it's only a few bucks. So I implore you, like, do the paid recommendations just because it's the easiest way to just dip your foot in the water. And here's what you'll learn. After 6 months, you'll start noticing, wow, I've got a lot of people opting in for this thing or this thing. Read what are they writing that people are opting in for? And then you ask yourself one of two questions. All right. The first one is, well, could I address that?
Yep.
Okay. Now you've been getting paid to do market research. That's awesome. Secondly, you go, could I deepen the relationship with this person? Maybe we could promote each other. Maybe we could become affiliates. And all of a sudden, instead of it being, I'm looking at how consultancies win. Instead of, you making $46 a month from how consultancies win through the paid recommendations, you're doing actual promotions of each other. And now we have thousands of dollars flying in both directions. And you've taken it to that next level. So there's look at those stats and see what your audience is responding to and learn from it while making a few bucks.
It's awesome advice. Yeah, I love that. And when you're in this marketplace navigating through, it's super easy to see again what's the payout per subscriber that you're sending over to them. The caveat here, I'll just say, is this is for engaged subscribers. And so each one of these businesses will have a different definition. You'll be able to see here what they count as engaged. Hey, we count engaged as somebody who, clicks on a link in the first 14 days that opens up an email in the first 10 days. There's going to be different constitutions of engagement here for different businesses, but click through that. The same rules apply though. With great power comes great responsibility. We're still looking for people that are going to provide value for our audience. We're not just going in and finding the highest payouts and saying, I'm going to recommend the crypto newsletter when I am a food blogger, right? We're trying to find still good matches and make sure we're providing value and not being shiv and recommendations of restaurants. But at the same time, go through and find the right people for you. Okay. So last step here, again, gaining new subscribers, building trust, monetizing through different ways. And so how do there's a reason that we made this entire system a circle, a flywheel, rather than being linear. And, there's a lot of different ways that you could approach this last step, but and this is not, again, for every beginner, but the idea of, hey, if the more people that I get to get on my email list, the more people that'll trust me, the more people that'll trust me, the more people that will be able to go forth and, buy my products and get even more value from me from my paid services and the other ways I monetize. And so the more money I make, maybe some of that money can also go back into the idea of gaining new subscribers to make this wheel go faster and faster.
That's what I recommend when you're starting off. So easy way to look at this. Let's just say you make $150 from paid recommendations. Let's say your hosting's $30 a month. Your kit account's $30 a month. Don't quote me on that. I'm just saying, somebody really starting off, that might be what it is. Let's say you're paying $40 a month for other stuff, random things. That's $100. You have $50 left over. The next month, go spend $50 on paid recommendations to get traffic. See how it works. Play around with the qualifications. Start low. And the thing is, if you only have $50, there's no reason to pay $5 per subscriber, because then you're only going to get 10. Try paying $1 and maybe you'll still get 50 for the same $50 when you're starting out. And if after a few weeks you realize you've gotten 0, then up it to 2. And now we found the sweet spot. We get 25 for 2. Cool. Well, now those subscribers make you a certain amount of money, and maybe the next month you can spend $70. And so again, psychologically, being profitable is important. So maybe if you have $50, don't spend 50, only spend 30. So you can go to your wife or your husband or whoever and say, we still made $20, like, because the reality is, like, those new subscribers probably aren't going to make up that cost like in the first few days. That's not likely, although sometimes they do, so it's just play around with it, experiment, see what works for you. What offers you make to them and things like that. It's a lot of experimentation, and just get comfortable not knowing and trying new things and seeing what works.
It's wise words. We have again, before I get to the next steps, thank you both so much for breaking this down. Yeah. I think this was really, really valuable for the audience, and I think they're going to find a lot of little nuggets here. What we have for you all today, for getting to the end of our lovely presentation, we have a great offer. You can't find this offer if you go to kit.com right now. You will not see this on our website. This is something we specifically partnered with Matt to do here today. And so you will get your first month off for free of Kit if you sign up on the link, depending on where you're watching this, clicking on the link that's on the screen here. You'll be able to get that first month off from our plans here. You'll also get 14 days to try it out for free, of course, and all that. And then in addition to that, when you do sign up, we have a couple other things for you. Number one, we work with some of the biggest creators here at Kit. And so we went and interviewed a ton of them and put together this list of the top 10 list growth strategies from professional creators. And so if you are just kind of racking your brain, we talked about 2 earlier today. If you want to get a list of 10 more here, we have a great list for you that you'll get once you sign up. And then number 2 here, I promise you, automation genuinely is more logical and simple than it looks. It might look very intimidating, but it actually quite is simple. But I know that it does look scary, and it can be something that says, hey, where do I even get started on this? And so we do have 5 automations that with one click you can get into your account. I promise you that you'll need these. These are things kind of like one of the ones are similar to what Robbie was talking about, for example, of, hey, what's the last time somebody engaged with me? Are they engaged, disengaged, or inactive? What do I do about that? How do I clean up my list? And a couple others. So we have some good stuff for you here today.
That's amazing if you don't have a Robbie. Like, I probably paid Robbie a lot of money to do 5 automations. So it will save you. That's like a clear value right there.
Right on. I just kind of want to wrap up here with this, and I'll point this back over to you, Robbie and Matt. I'll just kind of say it plainly. Like, there are a ton of different email tools that somebody can use on the market today. And so what's the reason for you guys that you stay with Kit and continue, being part of this community?
Robbie, I'll let you answer like the tech side. For me, it's just, it's the fact that I feel like every few months I'm getting a message from Robbie saying, okay, so Kit added this, Kit added that. It's like, you guys don't rest on your laurels. I remember, gosh, I don't know when, I think it was like 2000. It might've been like 9 or 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I invited Nathan Barry to a breakfast that we were doing with some like online marketers. And, there's this little company at the time called ConvertKit. And it was like, this little, just adorable little email provider. Yeah. And, but I invited him because he seemed like a good dude. And I could just tell, like, I remember saying to, so the guy that was sitting next to me is a dear friend of mine named Kyle Young. And I think Kyle uses Kit, and I think you guys have done something with him in the past. And I remember like Nathan's talking about the stuff they were doing with, at that time ConvertKit over the next like year. And I was like, I just kind of I leaned over to him. I was like, those guys are going to dominate this industry, and I think I may have projected it a little sooner than what became reality, but it was still pretty close. Right. I was like, they're just, the other companies go years without innovating.
Right.
And you guys are like the little quiz thing. I didn't even know you had or the poll thing. I didn't even know that was in there.
There you go.
Like, there's so many things I don't even know were in there. And I've learned more on this than most people did, watching it. that to me is the biggest reason. Like I know it's safe. I know the important things are covered. You guys are going to get the basics right. Deliverability, just like the good looking emails, making sure that unsubscribes are actually honored. You guys would be surprised who are watching how often that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
The tech broke. Well, so far, at least in over, 6 or 7, gosh, I know, 6, 7 years, I worked it in. That was for my son. 6, 7 years of using Kit, like the tech's never broke. Like it's just always working. So you do the basics right, but you also do some of the other stuff right. That's for me. I'm sure Robbie has a million other things, but yeah.
Yeah, I've been a Kit user personally since 2015, so a decade now.
OG.
And I don't have a triple digit user ID. It's a 4-digit, but I'm close.
Yeah, you're right there.
But I think Matt said it best. Like, you guys continue to innovate. You get the basics down right, and it's reliable, and it's still simple enough. Like, yes, you can hire somebody like me to do a lot of complex stuff, but at the end of the day, most of it you can do on your own, and the support is incredible. If you can't figure it out, there's always a little bubble in the bottom right corner. Click that button, and you have support instantly. And those things combined just make it a great tool. The way you've grown, it really is the creator first email service provider. Other ones, are great for different audiences, but for the creators, like Kit is where you want to be.
Right on. Well, again, I appreciate you both for just being so willing and transparent to open up what you're doing on the back end of your business. And I feel like the audience probably took a lot of value today from that. And so again, click the link on the screen, 1 month on us here at Kit, and then you got your trial as well. And again, thank you both so much for being here, and hope to do this again soon.
My pleasure.
Definitely.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.